Let's look at the cell cycle. And so what happens is you'll have a cell enter into this. So a cell is going to look like this. It's going to enter it into the cell cycle as one cell. Let me make a little better arrow. And then it's going to eventually exit out as two cells. Each of those cells, remember, could go back into the cell cycle. And so this is how we make all the cells in our body. Now, I've heard that a lot of the dust in a room actually are dead skin cells. And this is what skin looks like. So skin is going to be created new cells, and then they're going to migrate up to the surface, and then we're eventually going to lose skin cells at the top. But we keep replacing those cells, and to do that we use the cell cycle. So let's look at the parts of the cell cycle. If we start first with that cell entering in, the first thing that it'll do is it'll actually enter into the G1 phase. G1 phase, the cell is actually going to grow. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We then enter into the S phase. During the S phase, we're going to actually, using DNA replication, we're going to copy all of the DNA inside a cell. It then goes into the G2, or the growth 2 phase, where it continues to grow and gets ready for division of the actual cell. And so G1, S, and G2 are all part of what's called interphase. And if you look at a cell, it's generally in interphase. It's growing, it's copying its DNA, it's growing, or maybe it's just working. It's doing what a normal cell does. And so most of the life of a cell is in interphase. It's in these three, G1, S, and G2. And the actual copying of the nucleus and copying of the cell, this mitotic phase, is actually going to be really, really small. If it never divides again, it'll actually stall out in something called the G0 phase. And so we've got cells inside our body. You've heard of this, maybe cells of the central nervous system, muscle cells, for example, that never copy themselves during your whole lifetime. They're in what's called the G0 phase, or they're just waiting, and they're not going to make divisions.